The Mega Menu Pro and Header Builder 1.2 is out, and it comes with a couple of new features and improvement to existing features. The big one is the AI integration via the Edge AI connector. The Mega Menu Pro now connects directly to an AI agent, Claude, Cursor, whatever you use, through the Edge AI connector. One click and your agent can read and edit your actual menu layout in real time, guided by a built-in skill reference, so it knows every settings. Building a mega menu now is just a conversation. If you want to see this in action, I'm going to put a link to the video in the comment section, so check it out and see how this workflow goes. The next thing I want to show you is the keyboard navigation is really improved. So I'm going to hit the tab key. Now once you move into the menu items, you can use the arrow keys. I'm going to hit left, 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 left. Now, if I want to go back to the first item, I can hit home, and end button takes us to the last item. Now, right here, I can hit down to enter, down, down, right, left, left. Then left again goes out, then I move. Now, once you enter the mega menu items, you can use the down and up arrow keys to move between the items, or the left and right to move between the items. The escape key takes you out. So this is a very, very comprehensive keyboard navigation system. And let's not forget the skip link parameters. If I refresh this page right now, I can have a skip link. Right now it says skip to content, so I have just one skip link. But if we go into the navigation and to the header setting, you can see the skip link is enabled. But if I want a custom skip link parameter, right now I have main skip to content, but then I can add more parameters. It says here you can type in custom parameters to generate skip links, multiple parameters separated by commas. For example, I'm saying main skip to content. Now I can decide to say, right now I have just the main, I don't have a footer on my page. Let's just say I wanted to skip to header. For example, I can say header, then I write skip to header, and then I put a comma, and then I can say main. Now that is a tag. So what I'm doing here, I'm putting a tag, that I want to use. You could put a selector, and I can say skip to article. I'm going to have the first one that says skip to header and the second one that says skip to article. So you can define custom skip link. If I had a footer, now I don't have a footer, because if I put footer, skip to footer, it's going to just ignore it because footer doesn't exist. But let's just say I wanted to skip to section. Now it's going to target the first section of the page. So I say, then I put a comma there to section. You can see it's skipping to the first section. Okay, so this works with tags. Like what we are using is tags. So if the target element doesn't have an ID, you can use the tag, but if it has an ID, you can use the ID in place. For example, if that section had a specific ID, you can use, but if you use just a section, it's going to grab the first section of the page, automatically generate an ID for it, and then link it to the skip links. The next thing is the improved buffer zones. I'm going to increase the gaps in between the items here. So I'm just going to click on one of these, go to the nav, and go to the drop down content gap, which is called the drop down offset gap. I'm going to give it a gap of like say 50 pixels. I want to really exaggerate it. And then I will go to the nested drop down offset gap. For example, the flyer, do you want a gap in between here? So I'm just going to put 50 there also to really exaggerate it. So you can have, we have a lot of gap in between. Now I want you to see how powerful these buffer zones are. And if I go to the front end, you can see that we have a very massive gap here, and we don't lose our drop downs. It doesn't matter how many long we stay here, we don't lose our drop downs. You can see that we don't lose that drop down. Now I'm going to turn on the parent relative positioning for the drop down. So I'm going to go to this particular drop down, and then I'm going to turn on parent relative. Now parent relative allows this to open, relative to the parents. You can see that. I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to enable the buffer zone preview so we can see what it looks like. So I'm going to go to the nav component, and then all the way down, I'm going to enable the preview. Now the preview just lets you see what is happening, what the buffer zone is doing. Now I'm going to refresh this, and then you're going to see what the actual zones that is actually protecting your drop downs. Now you can see the buffer zones. We have the primary buffer zones and we have the secondary buffer zones. So this is the primary buffer zones, the orange ones, that allows you to move your cursor from the parent to the child element. Now the green protects against drops that happens because of gaps in between the nested drop down. So those are the secondary buffer zones. It works quite well, and in a lot of cases you are able to move between your items. You can see that we have the buffer all the way to the end here. So it doesn't matter how much of a gap you have, you are protected from losing your drop downs. And the final one is the fun one. And if you go to the nav, the header components, you're going to see liquid glass. If you enable liquid glass, you're going to see the options like distortion, surface depth, shyness, saturate, border. So I'm going to enable that, save it. And then if I go to the front end, I refresh. Now nothing happens because you need your the header to be sticky. So I'm going to go to this and turn on sticky header. Then I'm going to set the header background to something that is transparent. Let me just put transparent. Now, of course, you can use a semi-transparent. So let's refresh that. And then you can see the liquid glass effect. You can see how gorgeous that looks. Now here is an example of how it works. You can see looks really cool there. Now, I want to let you know these are supported by very few browsers. Chrome, Safari, and Firefox probably don't support this. So if we are on Safari, it's just going to fall back to the default regular blur, and it's not going to be a liquid glass effect. So that is that's that. So that's a sneak peek of some of the features available in the Mega Mini Pro and Header Builder version 1.2. So check it out and let me know what you think. And if you have an older version, I recommend using the Mega Mini Pro Updater to update to the latest version.